everyone. My name is Pavan Bhatia. I'm the vendor manager at MCIS. Welcome to MCIS's AGM 2019-2020.
And I'm Deanna Nemeth, and I'm the business development manager. And tonight we'll be your co-host for the event.
So before we get started, I'm just going to run through some of the Zoom housekeeping items. First and foremost, we are recording the meeting. Everyone is on mute except for the people who are not speaking, who are speaking at a point. The chat feature is available for you to chat with MCIS. We encourage you to keep your cameras on at all times so that we can see you and we can engage and talk, basically see and engage on the screen with you. Also, we would recommend that you can go to the speaker view. If you look at the screen on the right-hand side, there's something called as the speaker view. If you click onto that, the person who's speaking would be the main person on screen. Lastly, we would highly encourage you to use the reaction features, which is at the bottom of the panel, the control panel. One more thing, if you are not on mute, please be mindful of the background noises. Please mute yourself if you're not talking. That would be easier for us to make sure we can have a smooth session this evening.
Throughout the evening, we'll play entertainment performed by some of our language professionals. We would like to thank everyone for their submissions, and we hope you enjoy them.
On behalf of MCIS and our board of directors, we are so happy that you could all join us. Our language professionals, friends, funders, and service partners. We are among friends and colleagues, all of whom we share MCIS's vision of connecting people globally through languages. We thank you all for being here today, especially considering that we are hosting this all virtually for the first time.
Now, before we begin the official program, we'd like to recognize the land upon which we find ourselves tonight. We acknowledge the land we are meeting on is the traditional territory of many nations, including the Mississaugas of the Credit, the Anishinaabe, the Chippewa, the Haudenosaunee, and the Wendat peoples, and is now home to many diverse First Nations, Inuit, and Métis peoples. We also acknowledge that Toronto is covered by Treaty 13 with the Mississaugas of the Credit.
So here's our first entertainment video for the evening. Before we start, it is submitted by a language professional, Pin Chi Chi. Enjoy.
Hi, I'm Pinchi. Since this year is not a good time for us to travel, I'll bring a little bit of Norway to you through music. It's a short piano piece written by the Norwegian composer Edvard Grieg, and this photo was taken in the woods right outside his home in Trollhaugen, Norway.
Thank you for that. That is beautiful. I hope you're all now relaxed. So now we will move towards our business segment. We will now commence the business AGM with some words from the Chair of our Boards of Director, Shash Anand, and MCIS's Executive Director, Lata Sukumar. So Shash and Lata, I'm just gonna unmute you now and so that you can, I don't think Shash is here. So bear with me 1 second. I'm gonna get Lata in first. Lata, are you here? Can you hear
Yes.
me? Yeah, perfect. So I'm just gonna find Shash.
Surprising.
Okay. Sarah? Sorry, Sarah was with Shash. So let me just quickly check on that with her. Because he might have dropped. I think it's good to get all the Zoom glitches out of the way in the beginning. So I'm just going to quickly check with Sarah. Are you here?
She's online with me. Let me just check.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate that.
Hey, Shash. So they're doing it early. Is it okay if you come in now? Okay, all right. So Lata is on. You just have to get on, and so Pawan will just introduce you now. Yeah.
All right, we think Shash will be joining us shortly. So just bear with us for one quick moment. How is everyone doing, by the way? I see a lot of people today. It's amazing to see all these people. We have got over 105.
We lost you.
So we've got a bunch of exciting entertainment throughout the day. So bear with me 1 second. I'm gonna see if Shash has logged in. Yeah, there you go.
Where is he?
Right here. Ask you on mute. Shash, can you hear me?
Hey guys, how are you?
Hi, how are you? Perfect.
Good.
Welcome, Shash. We were looking for you. So we will be
I'm
starting.
sorry.
That's
Okay.
okay. We'll be starting with the business AGM. So if you would kindly say, so Shash is our chair of our board of directors. Shash, if you would kindly start the business part of the AGM.
All right, great. So on behalf of the board of directors and staff of MCIS, it gives me great pleasure to invite you to the business portion of the annual general meeting, which will be followed by an evening of celebration, awards, and prizes. I thank funders, service partners, and language professionals for taking the time to come. For 30 years, MCIS Language Solutions has been pursuing its vision to create a world where people can communicate across language barriers. Over the last 13 years, it has evolved into a model social enterprise, providing a range of language services, including interpretation and translation in over 300 languages. We have remained unequivocally committed to our core objectives: access to services, support for cultural diversity, and protection of human rights. Our current mission is to improve access to critical information and services through professional language solutions. Our values are respect, quality, collaboration, accountability, and learning. Since 2012, we've also been recognizing individuals and organizations that significantly contributed to advancing our core objectives and the overall growth of the language industry by either setting a standard of professional conduct and service delivery or by innovating in the field of nonprofit management. And this year as well, we will recognize individuals and organizations in 6 categories. Okay, now to the business portion. I'd like to formally welcome you all to the business portion of MCIS's annual general meeting. I trust that you've had a chance to review the agenda and minutes of the AGM 2019, as well as the audited financial statements year ended March 31st, 2020, sent out with the invitation. So let me introduce you to the MCIS's current board members who are present here today. And I'd like to start with the executive team. Start with Vice Chair Monica Franklin, Treasurer Hilda Wu, Secretary Pavel Kosicki, and from the directors, we've got Ken Shen, Ken Zito, Renata Punwasi, Shimona Petrov, Peter Murphy, Monica Donahue, and Jasmine Atfield. We have 2 board nominees whose names will be brought forward to replace board members leaving this year. And that is Camille Jovanovic and Shyam Sridhar. And the current committee members are Sudha Datta, Maureen Wei, Ben Choi, Saima Anwar, Shazmin Hansi, Jing Wu, Tony Aramuni, and Suzanne Delescar. All right, I would like to formally call the business meeting to order. So can we have a mover to approve the agenda?
I'll move.
Oh, well.
Thank you. You can just state your names. Thank you. And the seconder, please.
I'll second, Monica.
Thanks, Monica. All right, and moving on to the second item on the agenda, the minutes. I'd like to call upon our secretary, Pavel Kosicki, to seek approval of the minutes.
He has to be unmuted. Pavel or Pavan?
Yeah, I did unmute him. Pavel,
So
can
you have to
can you
unmute
hear?
yourself.
No, I think he lost a connection there, possibly. Pavel?
He's on mute. Oh, there we go.
Okay, there we go.
Okay.
Perfect, thank you.
Can I get a motion to approve the minutes of the meeting?
Ended.
Sorry, I don't have the script in front of me.
2019. Okay.
For the year ended 2019,
2020.
2019, 2020.
I'll move. Ken Zito.
Somebody second.
Can I get a seconder?
I will second Ken Shen.
Be resolved that the minutes of the previous meeting of members held November 26, 2019 be approved. So we had those. Are there any questions? None opposed, so the motion carries. Josh, back to you for the chairperson's report.
Great, thanks a lot. I will now present the chairperson's report, which is also in the annual report. So the year that ended on March 31st, 2020 seems like a lifetime ago, given the paradigm shift we've seen in how we work and live post-COVID. In a year that has experienced one of the greatest pandemics in history, it is more important than ever to ensure that language is not a barrier to any individuals looking for resources to guide them through these challenging times. Access to critical information in real time is only possible by leveraging the latest advancements in various technologies and leveraging key qualified people that can provide the highest quality of interpretation and translation services. A testament to the great work that MCIS's board and staff have done in how well the organization has weathered this pandemic, with minimal disruption to services, all of which are being seamlessly delivered with staff and contractors working remotely. As a social enterprise, we make it our mission and vision to eliminate barriers for all, especially those that cannot afford access, and will provide our services for free. Given the role MCIS plays, the information that MCIS has access to in many cases contains highly confidential and personal information. And it's for that reason, cybersecurity and compliance are at the forefront of the board strategy. So, what were the key achievements of the past year that further strengthened MCIS to ensure the successful handling of its business and social impacts through these extraordinary times? One, we added our technology infrastructure, bringing interpreter scheduling to the cloud with the launch of our interpreter intelligence platform in July 2019. This project, which was 2 years in the making, was highly complex and handled by a small but mighty tech team of 2 individuals who worked with several technology vendors. The board technology committee members also stepped up to provide able guidance. 2, MCIS delivered the immediate phone and video services through an online platform, thereby laying the groundwork for the complete shift to remote services during the pandemic. 3, the board encouraged MCIS to explore translation technology to stay current, relevant, and financially viable. This led to the hiring of a translation technology consultant who has shown us the way to develop our machine translation and localization capabilities. 4, the board invested time and effort to ensure MCIS's social impact initiatives aligned with its vision and mission. Some of our impact initiatives included a translation pop-up event at the 519 for newcomers from the LGBTQIA2S+ communities, a localization sprint which trained translators in the use of Siphon, a censorship circumvention tool that operates with the help of proxy servers around the world to get information to people where when their state blocks access to it, they have access to it. Free interpretation, translation, and training services to agencies and individuals that could not afford them. Now, MCIS continues to excite and inspire new initiatives every day. We continue to be a leader in the delivery of language services and solutions for the broader public sector across Canada, including all levels of government. We have grown our revenue by 10% year over year by winning more clients every year with our high quality and professional language solutions. We have white label arrangements with training providers to provide our training. We are scrupulous in our due diligence before partnering with other providers to ensure the highest quality training programs that will help build the capacity of our sector. A warm thank you to our funder, the Ministry of Children, Community and Social Services, as we continue to help survivors of domestic violence receive the timely community and legal services they need. We are also grateful to the City of Toronto and the Ontario Trillium Foundation for various grants that help us address the needs of our most vulnerable, the homeless, trafficked persons, and victims of serious crime. We owe our utmost gratitude to our language professionals who make us look so good with their professionalism, responsiveness, and compassion. We truly would not be here without them. A few board and committee members are stepping down, and I would like to thank Ken Shen for his years of great service to MCIS on the board and its marketing and technology committees. I personally learned a lot from his strategic questions, his experience, and his insight. The departing committee members are Tracy Eckbrett, Tran, and Alexa Daswani, and we thank them for their service as well. I have learned a lot during my first year as chairperson and look forward to continuing to lead the organization over the coming years. I am ably supported by extremely talented and visionary colleagues on the board and committees and a wonderful staff team at MCIS. I've seen great infrastructure building and growth and know that the sky is the limit given the passion, commitment, and professionalism of everyone associated with this dynamic global organization. I'm now going to invite Lata to present the Executive Director's report.
Hello, everybody. Nice to see all of you, even if it's virtually. There is a lot of overlap between what Shash and I have presented in our report, so I'm not going to repeat everything. I want to start out by saying it's really an honor and a privilege to present my report to all of you for the year ended March 31, 2020. And as Shash mentioned, we cannot view this year apart from the situation we find ourselves in now. So I would like to actually demonstrate how the work that MCIS has done is helping us weather this pandemic with minimal disruption to services, which are being seamlessly delivered right now by all of our staff and our contractors working remote. So as Shash mentioned, there are 5 things that have enabled MCIS to successfully handle business and social impact initiatives through these extraordinary times. And one of them, as he said, is our technology infrastructure, bringing interpreter scheduling to the cloud. Here, I want to give a shout out to our IT and internal operations manager, William Spidrogan, whose attention to detail, diligence, and extraordinary problem-solving skills enabled our transition from a very clunky and over-customized system to one that's out of the box. And now our IS team is able to provide services remote, and our vendors and our customers are able to engage with us system because we had the wherewithal and the vision to launch this system on the cloud in July 2019. Now, transferring all the staff, vendors, customers, training everybody to come on board has not been a mean task. And so I want to take the opportunity to thank our vendor and account management teams headed by Lester Corbally, the interpreter services team headed by Veronica Costia, and our finance team headed by Alex Elenikov for an extraordinary job that they've all done. Now, MCIS, the second point, as Shash mentioned again, is that we anticipated a shift to remote services, although not quite in the way it was brought on by COVID. So as he said, we had already trained our interpreters to offer immediate phone and video remote services while experimenting with a telemedicine platform called Bluestream. But this tentative foray that we had made already a year prior enabled us to engineer an immediate pivot to remote services during the first 3 months of the lockdown. And MCIS's customers who had until then resisted were all now lining up, and luckily we were ready to receive them to offer our services, interpretation services remote. Now, also the Translation Technology Initiative has helped us anticipate some of the surge that we are seeing in translation volume. And with a better system that has come into being as a result of the planning that we did, we will be able to accommodate a surge in translation volume with much greater efficiency and with greater capacity in our translation team. So once again, it seems like we couldn't have timed our efforts better. Now, for our transition to online training programs and white label arrangements began in earnest also last year. And we realized at that time the potential of the US and the wider global market for training that we offer for interpreters and translators. And we decided to pursue it by adapting our training content to make it more generic and universally applicable. Now, we could not have timed this shift better either, given the current demand for all forms of online training offerings as people are adapting to a new reality in a post-COVID world. Now, we also, as Shash mentioned again, became much more intentional about all of our social impact initiatives beginning in 2016. And we did a number of initiatives last year, which I will not repeat. But what I want to say is one of the things that we also did alongside the translation pop-up and other such external facing events is we trained MCIS staff on how social enterprises operate so they could be aware of the impact that they make through their work. And when the lockdown happened, we had a highly motivated staff team that was so flexible to take on any assigned tasks to ensure MCIS continued to deliver on its vision and mission. In addition, we also had a dedicated team that could immediately mobilize around specific and relevant initiatives, including setting up a free over-the-phone interpretation phone line for people that were in need, helping create a clearinghouse of translated information on COVID-related matters on our website in over 50 languages, and also offering free translation services. So the staff team came through in spades. Now, I join our extraordinary and esteemed chair, Shash, in thanking all of our funders again who have helped us provide free services for our most vulnerable, the time when it has been most needed. Our translator and interpreters have been there for us, and they've shown their true mettle under current circumstances. Here I want to share a story. One interpreter actually spent the day with an expectant mother through several hours of labor, and then when the baby was stillborn, stayed the entire night providing interpretation support for the inconsolable mother. This was in a hospital setting in the midst of a raging pandemic. And every day we hear such awe-inspiring stories of superhuman courage and selfless service. So I want to thank them all from the bottom of my heart. Our translators have also worked diligently and hard because we've had to deliver to very tight timelines for city and school boards so the public could stay informed and receive information in a timely fashion when things were changing so rapidly. Now, never before have I actually been more convinced of the important work that our language professionals do and that we have the good fortune to facilitate. Now that we had been, we had a financially successful year with over 10% growth in revenue was just the icing on the cake. So I could not be more proud to lead a tremendous team of highly passionate and motivated individuals than I am now. I could not also be more grateful for the great leadership and guidance by an engaged volunteer board consisting of professionals who are all at the top of their game in their respective fields. My utmost gratitude to each and every one of you. And my sincere thanks to Ken Shen, our departing board member, for his years of service on the board and on its marketing and technology committees. Finally, I want to thank you all again for the privilege of working at MCIS with all of you. We will continue to scale great heights, removing language barriers as we continue to take on the greatest challenges of MCIS's 30-year tenure. Thank you.
Thank you, Letha. I would like to now introduce the auditor. So our auditor, Barbara.
We have to get approval of
I'm sorry.
the chairperson report as well as the executive director.
Okay. So can we get, is that a motion to approve can we get a motion to approve the executive report, the chairperson report, and the executive director report, please?
I can do that, Monica.
Thanks, Monica. And can we get a seconder?
Pavel, second.
Thanks, Pavel. Okay, and thank you once again, Letha. Now I'd like to introduce the auditor. Our auditor, Barbara DeFonseca, will present her report for the year ended March 31st, 2020.
Thank you very much for the introduction, Shash. I'm going to attempt to share my screen here.
Okay.
There we go, so that we can all, I know the audited report has been circulated, but I think it would be a good idea to present it on the screen. Can everyone see it there?
Yes, it is. Yep.
Oh, wonderful. Okay. So again, I want to thank you for that introduction, Shash. I'm very happy to be here to represent the firm, and it's an honor to be, appointed the auditors of such a wonderful organization. So again, thank you for that. So here you can see on the screen, everyone, the audited financial statements, and I'm going to flip through them here. You can see this next page here. It's just a table of contents or the index. So it shows you, the audited report is on the first couple of pages. Then we've got a statement of financial position, which any of you that remember from good old accounting in high school, or if you went a little further with it in post-secondary, it's essentially like a balance sheet for a for-profit organization. But of course, we know MCIS is a not-for-profit. It's just different terminology. Statement of operations, and then we have several schedules to support our statement of operations, and I can flip through those quickly for you. You'll see that the last 11 through 16 is the notes to the financial statements. They are not the financial statements, but they are just as important as them because they provide some valuable information. We don't have time to read through it all today. However, I do encourage you to read through them on your own, perhaps after the meeting or later this week if you have not already. Again, they have valuable information in them as well. Okay, so BDCA was hired and a lot of work was done against the financial statements that were provided and that were prepared by MCIS. If you were to read through all of this here, I mean, the most important part that you can see is the opinion paragraph here at the top, where it says, in my opinion, the financial statements present fairly in all material respects the financial position of the entity. And again, that financial position, it lists out the assets that MCIS has as of March 31st, 2020, as well as its obligations. We also felt that the results of its operations and cash flows were also presented fairly. If you were to read through all of this here, it lists, the responsibilities of management and those charged with governments, because they are responsible for preparing the figures and ensuring that they're accurate. And then us as auditors, we come in and we do some checks, we do some sampling, we ask lots of questions, we ask about the systems that are in place. And we verify various information. We look at a lot of source documentation. I will flip here to the next page where it says we identify and assess the risk of material misstatement. What does material mean? Well, materiality is a concept that is different for every organization, but essentially for an organization such as MCIS, when we're looking at thousands and hundreds of thousands, and we're even in the millions of dollars, if there's an error of $5 or $10, we're not going to worry about it. But once it's large and material, we dig down further and further to make sure that everything is reflected fairly on the financial statements. So all in all, these first 2 pages are extremely important, and it tells the members, the directors, and the funders that require this audit also that the figures that are presented are truly present fairly the operations of the organization. I'm going to go to the 3rd page here, which is the statement of financial position. We've got lots of assets. Some are restricted, some are unrestricted. Accounts receivables, some funding receivables from the funders at year end, and of course capital assets, which can be computers and furnitures and fixtures, and intangible capital assets, as Shash and Latha were talking about the systems and the software and all the hard work that's gone on. You can see there's about 212,000 of all those systems capitalized that the organization is using to provide its services. The next half of this statement here, it shows how much money is owing out as of March 31st, 2020. That's the first column here. And the second column is just showing the same figure, but as of March 31st, 2019, because it's nice to see how things change year over year. Okay, and then finally, our net assets that are left in the organization. Okay, going on to the next page, here's a statement of operations. For those of you that are non-accountants, you can think about it like everything that came into the organization is up here in revenues. So we have fee for service, which is quite large, and all that funding that are received from all the organizations that Shash and Latha have thanked for contributing to MCIS. You will see for these funded grants, this year the statements are providing even better financial information to you than they did last year. There's a nice breakdown of various schedules that show you where this 1.5 million came from and how it was spent. And essentially this one statement here does the same thing. It's showing all the ins coming in up here and where everything else, where it all went during the year. Of course, this is a service organization, so the largest expenses are going to be the subcontracted services and salaries and benefits. You'll see this third, the system support. Again, as it was mentioned, the large amount of systems that are being used to interact with the recipient of the services, the provider of the services of MCIS, and then of course the typical remaining expenditures. So again, here there's helpful information here, details by the different types of grants to understand which grants. So MAG-HT 1 here, you look down at the bottom, 1 online training initiative to address human trafficking. So various helpful information for you. Lots of information here. Again, because MCIS is a not-for-profit organization, management's required to prepare these financial statements in accordance with accounting standards for not-for-profit organizations. So that's another thing that we verified also, that the accounting rules were followed. And then of course, because we're in Canada, our audit was performed in accordance with Canadian auditing standards. Okay, so lots of helpful and useful information here for you, for the funders. And that is about it in terms of the audited financial statements.
Great. Thank you, Barbara.
Okay.
That was fantastic. Thank you for the breakdown. Really appreciate that. Could I ask someone to bring the following motion? Be it resolved that the financial statements for the year ended March 31st, 2020, including the balance sheet and related documents and the auditor's report for the year ended March 31st, 2020 be approved and adopted.
Renata moves.
Thanks, Renata. Can I get someone to second, please? Can I get a seconder?
Because they're on mute, I'm guessing. Is there somebody I need to unmute right now? Okay, so there you go. I put but I'm muted again. Okay, hold on. I'm gonna find Jasmine. Okay, okay, bear with me 1 second. All right, there you go, Jasmine. You're unmuted now. Give it a try.
I can second.
There you go.
All right, wonderful, guys. Thank you very much. Okay, and BDCA has done a fantastic job. We're going to ask for the following motion for the appointment of the auditor. Be it resolved that BDCA chartered professional accountants be appointed auditors of the corporation to hold office until the next annual meeting of members or until their successors are duly appointed at a remuneration to be fixed by the board. Can somebody move?
I'll do that, Monica.
Thanks, Monica. And can I get someone to second, please?
I'll second the other Monica.
Awesome. Thanks. Thanks very much, Monica. Okay, so I will now call upon Monica Franklin, MCIS's Vice Chair and the Chair of the Social Impact Committee for the next agenda item.
Thank you. The next item, right, is about the election of the directors. First of all, on behalf of the board, let me thank the Nominations and Governance Committee for all their hard work, which I have the privilege of reporting about tonight. The Nominations and Governance Committee of the Board of Directors started the process earlier in the year to identify succession for board members who are going to leave the organization. They surveyed board members and to identify gaps that would need to be filled, and then identified suitable candidates from among the MCIS committees. Postings were also distributed to fill positions on the committee. The board has reviewed this slate and approved it at its last meeting of the board. I would echo Shash and Latha in thanking Ken Shen for his commitment and contribution to the organization to help us to build a strong and stable organization. As you've heard, Ken sat on the technology and the marketing committees, and we have appreciated his strategic thinking and innovative ideas. Ken, we hope that you will stay in touch so that we can continue to benefit from your contributions and your help to the organization in helping it grow and prosper. We are also pleased to present two highly accomplished individuals to this year's slate, and they will be joining our returning board members. So I would like to ask Camille, Jovanovic, and Shyam Sridhar to identify themselves. And I'd also like to request our returning board members to kindly raise their hands, wave as I call out your names. Shash Anand, who you've heard from, Pavel Kosiski, Hilda Wu, Ken Zito, Monica Donahue, Renata Punwesi, Jasmine Atfield, Shimona Petrov, Peter Murphy, and our newest members, Camille, Jovanovic, and Shyam Sridhar. So I would like to present the following motion. Be it resolved that the above named individuals be ratified as the Board of Directors of MCIS for the following year, 2020 to 2021, until MCIS's next AGM. Is there a mover?
Renata.
Renata, and second?
Jasmine.
And great. All in favor?
Yeah.
Hearing
Yes.
hearing no opposition. Thank you, and welcome, and thank you to all members of the Board of MCIS for the year 2021. And the screen is also showing the members of the various committees. So I would now like to say that since there's no further business to be brought before the meeting, I'd like to pass a motion or have it resolved that the AGM of MCIS held today on the 29th of October 2020 be adjourned.
Jasmine.
And a second.
I can do that, Shash.
So in conclusion, I'd say that MCIS's growth and its continuous commitment to recruiting highly qualified new immigrants and local language professionals has increased Toronto and Canada's multilingual visibility. It has allowed MCIS to provide language services to the globe while attracting and retaining competent and professional staff, board members, and committee members, as well as excellent volunteers and interns. I'd like to invite our MC back to continue the proceedings.
Thank you, Monica. That's very kind of you. I must say this is a good practice again. Zoom. Really good unmuting, muting, and this is obviously new with so many people on board here. So how is everyone doing? Can I get some reactions on the screen? So thumbs up, or I don't know, clap of hands or something, just to see how is everyone doing. Okay, Tali, I see a thumbs up. Lester, thumbs up. Good, thumbs up. Pavel, thumbs up. Shanta, no thumbs up. Diana is a thumbs up always. There you go. I see James. Everyone, exciting. Okay, so before we move to the next segment, we will have an exciting performance by our language professional, Lillian Mayombo. She has done this amazing video, and I hope you guys enjoy it. So there you go.
I found out that the alphabet tells us more about the word COVID. Staying at home, I found hope in the 26 letters stuck on my page. How to stay safe, how to stay brave. I let the word speak, so let the world hear. A, asymptomatic doesn't mean you aren't sick, so stick at home and help others recover real quick. B, believe that we can overcome this virus because now faith is our only vaccine. C, corona can't cause chaos continually because come Monday it will completely be crushed. D, do not spread fear, anxiety, panic attack. Instead, drop some love. And since we are all homebound, it will have to be a DM. E, enjoy every bit of life where you can because tomorrow is not guaranteed and today is running at a high speed. F, flatten the curve, be willing to serve. Put others first, that's what true love is all about. G, get ready for the unseen, yet to be experienced. After all, we didn't see this COVID-19 coming. H, hey, listen, this is where you make new resolutions. I mean the more you stay idle, the more progressive the devil's workshop gets. J, just so you know, this crisis might have hit us so hard, but handle it as a wake-up call. K, kindly flip your plan A pages and sketch plan B. Don't forget plan C, you know, COVID. You may even have to sketch up to plan number 19. L, life is too short. You only have one shot at it. If you miss, you have missed. My question is, what legacy will you leave behind? When the archaeologists of the future search for you, what will they find? M, my advice to you is, make hell's while the sun still shines, and do it fast to implement change. N, normal might become a myth, but you need to give life a new meaning in exchange. O, overcome the confusion and paradox that COVID-19 brings. While the world is afraid more than ever of being positive, don't forget to stay positive. P, patience and perseverance should always be your driving tools. Trust me, you will need either one or both to keep going. Q, quarantine is the enemy. Yes, sometimes we also claim that it locked us indoors. But hey, have you not yet realized that it never padlocked the mind? R, remember that what you need and need most is to reconstruct yourself as if not quarantined. S, stumbling blocks will always be there, but you need to clear the path for new beginnings. Do not wait for later, as the time is now or never. T, take it on the chin. Become a warrior and not a warrior in spite of the barrier. U, up in the areas where our hair got stuck. V, vigorously, we still stand firm ready to work. W, we cannot change the past, but we can start a new chapter with a happy ending. After all, X, xerothermic never stopped Camille survival, and yes, Y, yips might be there, but Z, zero shouldn't, and may it never define our lives.
That was excellent. Can we have a big hand of applause, the virtual ones, for Lillian Mayombo? I will remember that. Be a warrior instead of the barrier. That's pretty amazing rhyming there. So on this note, we will next go to our keynote speaker for the evening. We all can agree that this year has been one of the most challenging years in recent history. From concerns about the pandemic, climate change contributing to fires in the West, in Australia, to police brutality both in Canada and south of the border. This year has been unlike any other. Every year at an annual general meeting, MCIS has a keynote speaker who presents experiences and knowledge on relevant topics as a means of encouraging discussion over social justice issues and inspiring thoughts among our attendees.
This year, MCIS is honored to have Niambi Martin-John, a social change champion, community developer, advocate, and empowering partner who has dedicated her career to increasing capacity for marginalized, racialized, and at-risk communities. Coming from Dominica, Martin-John will be talking about her hometown, its colonial history, and how it was impacted by the slave trade and Black movements in the last century. She will also discuss her experiences in North America, explore what it means and feels to be Black in completely different historical and social settings, and explore how she perceives her Black identity through race and culture. Tying in what has happened in the world this year, we're looking forward to hearing her thoughts and views on the Black Lives Matter movement. Without further ado, please help me welcome Niambi Martin-John. Oh, you're on mute.
Try again, Niambi. So Niambi, I think you're unmuted, but we can't hear you for some reason. I think it might be, let's give it one more try.
It doesn't look like you have a microphone connected.
Can you hear us, Niambi? Yes, so I think there's something for some reason. It might, so the other option might be just calling through a phone. You know, if we can give you the numbers somehow, just bear with me.
Sorry, guys, our IT manager just prompted that Naomi, there's no audio connection. So she doesn't have a connected right now. Yeah.
I can.
Someone can email her maybe on her cell phone.
I can actually, I'm gonna try and share the participants. So Niambi, I'm gonna send you the meeting invitation and a chat. So if you could kindly try and see if you can dial in. I'm also going to try and find a Canadian number or 1-800 number for you to dial in from your phone. I'm sorry, I hope this is gonna work. Bear with me 1 second as I. So check your chat, Niambi. I'm just sending you the meeting invitation again, and I'm going to try and find out the Canadian calling number, and I'm going to message that to you as well. Bear with me 1 second as I scroll down my screen. There you go. I see all these amazing numbers. So I'm just going to send you this. So can you see the chat box? Okay, so I just sent you a 647 number. If you can just dial that in from your mobile phone. And then I'm going to help you with the code for the meeting. Meeting ID, there you go. So everyone, we'll just wait for Niambi to dial in. Just bear with us for a moment. I'm just going to try. Jack, could you see if Niambi needs a passcode to get in? I can see the meeting ID. I'm just wondering. Get some help on this. Dial in location, perfect. There you go. Yep, she was an unmute. Thank you. I'm getting all these tech support from everyone. Kind of you, everyone. I'm just gonna send her. I did send her. I'm just hoping she will be joining.
I'm not familiar with the process of dialing into a Zoom meeting, but she can probably tell you via chat what she's hearing on her phone.
Yeah, I think she could have stayed on the video. Niambi, I think she's still connected. So Niambi is very much on the call.
The video.
But the video is off. Ask her to start the video. I'm just gonna ask her and then she can just dial in.
Okay, let me spotlight her again so you can see her.
Okay, perfect.
Oh no, she did turn off the video. Yeah, you're right.
That's okay. This is why it's so much fun on Zoom. And okay, bear with us for 1 second.
And I'm sure we're not the only organization that have
no,
minor glitches in their AGMs.
We've seen plenty of memes on the internet. So there you go. Hold on. Sarah, I'm wondering if you could just call her and walk her through the system in the meantime. So we'll give it another minute or so. If not, then perhaps what we'll do is we'll move to the next segment and then come back. That could be one of the options. I'm just thinking off my feet here, and we'll wait for another minute. If not, so Jack, you had a beautiful slideshow. Can we have a 5-minute break while we troubleshoot her? Perfect. So Jack is going to play a beautiful music piece in the background and some MCIS videos and photographs, and we'll be back shortly. This is like a commercial break. See you soon in about 5 minutes. We'll be all here at 7 p.m. Thank you. So Niambi is here from her phone, apparently. I'm going to try and see if I can get her to unmute from her phone. Okay, so this is what it looks like. Bear with me 1 second. Okay. Hi, I think I just gave you the permissions. Can we hear you?
Hi, can you guys hear me?
Hi, perfect, Niambi. This is really cool. Thank you for joining us. And there you go. I'm going to mute myself.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me. So I joined on 2 devices, hoping that I would be able to avoid any technical difficulties. And so I joined 1 device with video only and 1 device with audio. And so you were trying to unmute me on a device where I didn't join with any audio. So I kept typing in the chat, please unmute my other device, but clearly that message wasn't coming through.
Thank you. I'm glad you're here now. Welcome again. We look forward to hearing you.
Thank you for having me here tonight to speak with you. It's a great honor to connect with the MCIS family, the board of directors, distinguished guests, awardees, volunteers and staff, as well as all of the generous funders who help it to make it possible to break down language barriers and increase capacity and opportunity for Canadians of all backgrounds. I was born in Dominica, an island in the Eastern Caribbean that is often mistaken for the more well-known Spanish-speaking Dominican Republic. Dominica, or La Dominique, is only 290 square miles and lies between the French territories of Guadeloupe to the north and Martinique to the south. So our official language of business and education is English, but Dominicans also speak French Creole patois, as well as something which is called Kokoy, which is an English dialect adopted in some parts of the island. The indigenous people of Dominica are the Arawak and Carib Indians who came to the Caribbean islands from the banks of the Orinoco River in South America. The Arawaks called Dominica Kairi, and the Caribs referred to Dominica as Waitukubuli, meaning tall is her body. On November 3rd, 1493, Christopher Columbus stumbled upon the island, and I say stumbled very deliberately. It was a Sunday, and so he named the island Dominica after the Spanish word for Sunday, Domingo. Dominica held very little appeal for the Spanish, who at the time were mostly concerned about the pursuit of gold, and therefore they did not create a settlement on the island as we lacked this particular resource. So for more than a century after Christopher Columbus's visit, Dominica was populated only by its native inhabitants. It was the French then who first established settlements in Dominica to harvest timber from its dense forests. And it was also the French who first brought enslaved African people to Dominica to provide free labor for their activities. In the 1700s, Dominica was repeatedly fought over and changed hands between the French and British several times as they began to recognize Dominica for its strategic position as a military outpost, as well as being beneficial for its natural resources. Each of those colonial superpowers engaged in the slave trade, bringing thousands of Africans to the island's shores. As a result, the number of Blacks in Dominica grew so significantly that it wasn't long before a large maroon population that were able to outmaneuver and out-evade and outsmart the Europeans evolved. They utilized their relationships with the native tribes, as well as their knowledge of the island's topography, to gain whatever advantage they could and to begin a foundation for a revolutionary people. When slavery was abolished in 1843, Dominica had already established a highly organized group of free Blacks. They owned both lands and businesses, much to the chagrin and detriment of the European settlers. In 1848, Dominica became the first British territory to have a Black-controlled legislature in the 19th century. This is the stock from which I come. By the time I was born in the mid-70s, there was a healthy and thriving Afrocentric movement. My parents were strongly identified with the Black Power movement and the African Liberation movement. It was commonplace in my home to find pro-Black literature and overhear conversations about Nelson Mandela, apartheid South Africa, or local and regional activists like Rosie Douglas, who is a Dominican that made significant contributions in the fight for equality for Blacks and Natives here in Canada, and Maurice Bishop, a Grenadian revolutionary concerned with the liberation and empowerment of Blacks. With such a background, it shouldn't be surprising then to learn that I grew up with a healthy sense of self, awareness of slavery, colonialism, and the brutal injustices suffered by Blacks. However, it is said that we see things usually as we are and not necessarily as they are. For me, one of these things was my race. With the majority of whites abandoning Dominica after the abolition of slavery, 95% of the population are people of African descent or mixed heritage. On the island, therefore, even though many like me are highly educated about our heritage and perhaps even came out of homes where the quest for equality was part of a proactive and organized movement, the truth is race, and specifically being Black, isn't an issue that requires us to give pause as we go about our day-to-day activities. In fact, I would say that we celebrate our Blackness as a construct more closely related to our cultural rather than our racial identity. You see, the reality is that as a Black person on the island, everyone looks like you, and even those who do not have a kinship to Blacks on the basis of a shared Caribbean or cultural experience that transcends racial barriers for the most part. We eat the same foods, we dance to the same music, we wear the same national dress, we speak the same language. Black Dominicans cook curry, Indian Dominicans speak Creole patois, which is a mix of French and African dialects. Native Dominicans play our cultural or traditional kadas music and dance our traditional ballet. And they also houkle or lavwe, which is a practice of chanting that started on African slave ships. Our elected officials look like us, and there's never a time when we would have to declare our race to access things like medical care in a hospital or on a form to register for a course at school. In that space, I would never have to apologize for my race, shrink myself, or move with caution so that someone could feel comfortable in my presence. So I must confess to you that I never understood my Blackness until I was 18 years old and moved to the United States to attend college. I had simply lacked the context for what being Black meant in the broader sense. I had been cocooned in a safety net that prevented me from picking up on the many cues and microaggressions linked to racism. And I would have to reshape my perspective on Blackness to truly grasp how others viewed me and what access and space would be ascribed to me on the basis of those preconceptions due to my race. I didn't know how the varied experiences with slavery, post-slavery, and emancipation affected the current lives of Blacks outside of the Caribbean, specifically in North America, and how cultural, economic, and political rights were not afforded in the same way to all people of the African diaspora. One of the immediate barriers I think I faced was that I had been exposed to so many deliberately constructed negative images of American Blackness in the media that I had inadvertently bought into them. I viewed African Americans with a mixture of admiration, disdain, and confusion all at the same time. I was highly offended when anyone described me or labeled me as African American, and I would take great pains to distance myself from them, something that I have found to be common among non-African American Blacks. I reasoned that this was because I was not in fact African, and neither was I American. And I felt that such a label was absolutely unnecessary and even counterintuitive. How could anyone whose people had fought against oppression turn around and label themselves in a way that made them seem like they did not belong? In my mind, this defeated the entire purpose of liberation and the civil rights movement, because by imposing this identifier of African Americans on themselves, they seem to be affirming the white supremacist view that they were less than. I would not be associated with this in any way. So on campus, I began to separate myself from any African Americans, judging their music, their gatherings, their dress, even their academic performance. I felt no kinship to them around racial identity, and I would regularly ponder the supposed plight of African Americans that they talked about, concluding often that they were all of those things that the media had told me. But the universe has a way of teaching us about ourselves that often lands us in positions where we are compelled to seek allies in order to overcome the many obstacles that are thrown at us. I began to experience microaggressions that would soon lead me to confront my own biases about the African American experiences. It started with a professor. She was both condescending and passive aggressive to Caribbean students. West Indians are very passionate people, and when we would get together as a group, we would often be very loud, often talking about our various islands, with each claiming to have the best water, the best beaches, best recipes, best carnival, or whatever little thing we could vibe about as Caribbean people. Sometimes we would talk about politics, religion, Rastafarianism, deep conversations about culture and culture shock, and escapism, of course, from small town America. This professor had a class that was dismissed from a room where many of us would be waiting to go to our next class. And without fail, every week she would meet us with the same greeting, a snide remark: "You people are always fighting." At first, I didn't know what the statement was. I only knew that "you people" did not feel like a term of endearment. Who were these people that we represented to her? And we weren't fighting. Far from it. We were the only support system and the only link to home that each other had. We were actually a very tight, loyal, and supportive group. A few times we replied to her comment with laughter, attempting to engage her in discussion to dispel her notion that we were fighting. But it continued week after week until the semester ended. And by then, it was clear as day what this was. This was racism, discrimination, her cultural incompetence, and a targeted and prolonged attempt to shame us for being different. On one occasion, a professor administered a test that was so difficult that the majority of the class failed. The only students to pass the test were the 5 Caribbean students, including me, who were enrolled in the course. Instead of awarding us our passing grade, we were failed, and we were reported to the dean for cheating, helping each other to pass, he said in his argument. By then, of course, I would have faced enough instances of discrimination, both overt and covert, to understand his motivation. If his best white students could not pass, how could 5 Black students from the Caribbean? Thankfully, fate intervened that day as we had all arrived late for class and had to take seats separate from each other wherever we could find them in the lecture hall. There was just no way we could have helped each other. And the dean also happened to know that we were all performing well above average in all of our courses and actually ended up siding with us in the dispute. However, I would say that things were never the same for us after that. Professors would look at us with great scrutiny in various classes because I assume that the word had been spread that we must be operating under some special kind of voodoo to excel in this program. I say this jokingly, of course, but what I want to convey is that a single person's misconceptions and prejudices were able to permeate an entire academic institution so deeply that students of color in this program would be burdened with the additional encumbrance to manage the expectations of professors and dispel any notion of having some type of unfair advantage or that we were aiding each other to achieve academic excellence. If I have to point to a single defining moment that was a catalyst for me to determine a path to better understand being Black in America, I would point specifically to this experience. I was confronted with an ugly truth that day, that being Niambi from Dominica in the Caribbean was inconsequential to my experiences in America, and that to navigate that space, I would have to do my due diligence to grasp the historical factors that shape how African Americans existed within a Eurocentric elitist system designed specifically to exclude them. I would have to find my voice to defend not just my Blackness, but the Blackness of others, whether West Indian or American, because to the outside world, we were all just Black people. Black people today continue to face significant systemic obstacles that have impacted the trajectory of their lives for generations. Social and economic disparities stemming from laws that made Black home and land ownership inaccessible or restricted to only certain neighborhoods, ones that lacked any infrastructure to support a thriving community is an example. Lack of access to institutions of higher education, poverty stemming from unemployment, underemployment, and lack of education, mass incarceration of Black men in particular, and the subsequent erosion of the Black family, police brutality, and the gap in access in healthcare to prevent and treat even diseases that disproportionately affect Blacks are among the common issues that need to be dismantled in order to even the playing field, placing Blacks on par with their white peers. When I moved to Canada more than 20 years ago, I bought into the often told Canadian story about how welcoming we are, how kind and un-American we are in our thinking, and how this is a place for all people, a multicultural melting pot wrapped in politeness and poutine. But as is true for many immigrants, and certainly for people of color, when the fog begins to clear, the complicated truth is exposed. Canada, while different in its indication of racism, is also a place where many of us continue to experience barriers to success. Bilingualism, for example, is considered an asset and a sign of privilege for whites. But for people of color, multilingualism is often used to reinforce that we aren't truly Canadian. In some cases, it's automatically linked to an assumption about one's ability to perform certain jobs, or one's intellect, or the validity or transferability of one's credentials. Throughout my career, I have faced a multitude of racially motivated barriers. Working in the white-dominated field of fund development, my ability to do the job was often questioned because Blacks are not historically seen as sources of philanthropic generosity. If the majority of our donors are white, older white men to be exact, how could a Black woman with an accent, with seemingly such a vastly different life experience, be successful in engaging such people? Remember that Blacks are usually seen as the recipients of philanthropic aid, with images of fly-riddled, sick and starving children in Africa being the predominant narrative exported to reinforce this. And so on many occasions, I was forced to constantly defend, explain, review, and justify my work, even to those who, knowing my expertise, had hired me to do a particular job. On occasion, even volunteers to organizations I have worked for have challenged me simply because I am Black. On one occasion, an individual asked me if I was sure that I was the director after she asked to speak to the person in charge and I was called. After I confirmed that yes, I was in fact the person who had earned such a title, she proceeded with one of the most beautiful displays of microaggressions that I have experienced to this day. She wanted to know where I was from. And with each response that I was from Canada, just like her, she became increasingly agitated and frustrated. No, I mean, where are you from? No, I mean your people. Where are your people from? Sadly, I wish I could tell you that this experience for Blacks is the exception rather than the rule, but it isn't. And what's even worse is that in many organizations where leadership fails to provide a supportive and safe environment for people of color, these situations are often laughed off, swept under the carpet, and never confronted. People of color are often left feeling humiliated and carry the burden of workplace anxiety, stress, and trauma because they are forced to choose between being employed or standing up against racist, inappropriate behavior. It is exhausting and it is frustrating to be able to count on one hand the number of people of color at professional conferences in a sea of hundreds of faces, or to take stock of your organizational chart only to grasp that you're the only Black person in a leadership role. It is exasperating to sit at a table where you've earned your rightful place and then to be asked to not let your intelligence be so obvious among your peers because they will be threatened by you. No white person would ever be asked to make such an accommodation. In fact, they would be celebrated for contributing over and above their assigned portfolio and promoted through the ranks at a disproportionately alarmingly fast rate. As we look at the Black Lives Matter movement, I felt it was critical for me to first share my story with you because people make the assumption that all Black people and people of color, by extension, share a singular story. Again, this is a way to diminish the potency of our stories and to cripple the movement to end racism. If all of our stories are the same, then we can be easily dismissed as part of the same old, same old. So while we acknowledge the intersections of our Black experience, it is important to note and understand that even Black people come to the table with decidedly different views and experiences around their racial identity and the expression of this identity. The one thing that unites us in the Black Lives Matter movement is our commitment to eradicating white supremacy by elevating and amplifying conversations about racial injustice and inequities, while advocating for policy changes to dismantle the systemic barriers that limit access for people of color. During the recent US presidential debate, Donald Trump was asked to condemn white supremacists and militia groups. Trump responded, "Proud Boys, stand back and stand by. But I'll tell you what, somebody's got to do something about Antifa and the left. This isn't the first time that this person holding one of the most respected offices in the world has missed an opportunity to categorically condemn white supremacy. It also isn't the first time that his failure to do so has actually energized and emboldened many who hold the view that being from the white race makes them superior to people of color, and that they have the agency to diminish and destroy those lives at will. The historical socialization of whites has afforded them great power and privilege, including an affirmation that all spaces were created for them to dominate. It is that which nurtures and feeds the ideology of white superiority that builds up systemic barriers for people of color, particularly Black people. When we say Black Lives Matter, we aren't asking for special treatment for Black people. What we are asking for is for the broad acknowledgement that the system is broken, that stereotypes, mistreatment, and expulsion of Black people from spaces where they can acquire power or continue to be threatened, and that our very existence is at stake. Blackness is not a uniform or costume. We cannot take it off in the morning before facing the world. Blackness is not something that I can hide, disguise, or diminish to grant me access to spaces that I have been shut out of. My race is not a choice. The emergence then of the Black Lives Matter movement, and certainly the reactivation of a unified call in 2020, is both critical and timely. The world needs to know that Black people require true freedom still today. And Black people needed this rallying cry to rise up and take ownership of the movement to free themselves once again. We need the people who oppress us to be held accountable for the injustices that are leveled against us more intensely and purposefully than against any other race. The judges, police officers, teachers, CEOs, healthcare providers, religious leaders, gatekeepers, owners of affluence, influence, and space, to cite a few. The work required isn't easy. It's not easy work. The conversations are uncomfortable. Being an ally will require deep introspection and a suspension of those biases that are often deeply ingrained in our psyche about who people are. It will require us to name things for what they are, like racism and discrimination and white privilege. It may mean losing friends. It may mean losing associates along the way, and overcoming deep frustration and disappointment that we may feel when those we thought held the same views as us desert us during this journey. It will require a steadfastness and a resilience in the face of grave injustice simply because you dared to stand on the side of social change. There's a quote that I enjoy from a civil rights activist. Her name is Mary McLeod Bethune. She's a philanthropist and an educator, and it states, "If we accept and acquiesce in the face of discrimination, we accept the responsibility ourselves and allow those responsible to salve their conscience by believing that they have our acceptance and our concurrence. We should therefore protest openly everything that smacks of discrimination and slander. If you are so inclined, please help me share their stories. Do you know their names? Amadou Diallo, Trayvon Martin, Jonathan Farrell, Eric Garner, Tamir Rice, Dontre Hamilton, Michael Brown Jr., John Crawford III, Tanisha Anderson, Freddie Gray, Botham Jean, George Floyd, Sandra Bland, Philando Castile, Breonna Taylor, and so many others, too numerous to mention. Do you know what they did? Do you know why they died? Standing outside of the apartment building where you live while Black, wearing a hoodie while Black, standing outside a store while Black, driving down the street while Black, sleeping in your bed while Black, sitting on your couch while Black, selling DVDs outside of a gas station while Black, going for a jog while Black, walking in an affluent neighborhood while Black, playing with a toy gun while Black, simply holding your cell phone while Black, playing in the park with your child while Black, sleeping in your car while Black, visiting friends while Black, suffering from mental illness while Black, calling the police for help while Black. Hey, you, where are you going? Where did you come from? Do you have ID? Do you have a weapon? Do you have warrants? You look like someone we're looking for. Why are you wearing that hoodie? Whose car is this? Do you have a permit for that? You can't swim here. You can't eat here. Why are you walking in this neighborhood? Do you live here? While Black. Thank you.
Wow, a big hand of applause for Niambi. Niambi, thank you so much for sharing such an engaging and yet so personal stories. I must say, you know, we are very lucky to have you speak this evening. We greatly appreciate your personal experiences that you brought to us tonight. And, you know, I also apologize, you know, for a little bit of a mix-up that we had, you know, about the technology, but I'm glad that we finally got connected and got to hear you speak. Thank you so much from the management at MCIS, the board of directors and the team at MCIS. Thanks so much. Greatly appreciate your talk. Thank you.
We'll now take a very short break and provide you with a video of one more entertainment segment from Mei Wang. She's one of our language professionals. And right after this, we will get to the MCIS awards.
Hello everyone, my name is Mei, Mandarin interpreter with MCIS. During this time of uncertainty, I'd like to play a small piece of music, Romance. I hope it will bring you healing and a peace of mind. And I wish MCIS all the best in the years to come. Thank you.
What an absolutely gorgeous piece. If I may tell everybody, May is on call this evening. She's present here with us. So if we can all have some nice reactions and, applause and something. People are texting me all these amazing messages about the keynote speaker and about May. May, what a beautiful segment, I must say. Beautiful piano piece. I wish I could play like that. I'm kind of feeling jealous now. All right, moving on to the next segment. So MCIS has, since its inception in 1989, has evolved into a model social enterprise providing over 50 language services and solutions in over 300 languages. We have grown into a successful organization committed to bottom line objectives, sound finances, the protection of human rights and diversity. All this has been direct result of contributions from each one of you, including our staff, board members, volunteers, interns, and of course, our partners.
Tonight, we will present awards in 6 different categories. Votes were cast for each of the categories by the MCIS team, service providers, and the peers with whom you work. Your plaques and certificates will be shipped to you after the AGM because unfortunately, we're not able to give them to you in person tonight.
The first award of the night is the Training Facilitator of the Year.
The Training Facilitator of the Year is awarded for outstanding professional contribution in removing language barriers by guiding trainee interpreters and translators to meet their goals and achieve their objectives. The individual is dedicated to excellence in teaching, passion in passing on the knowledge and skills of language professionals, and respect in the classroom. The nominees are Alana Kano, Mary Petrov, and Elena Davidova. I will turn it over to our training manager, Dushan, to present the award.
Good evening, everybody. I'm so happy to be here tonight. It's so amazing to see so many familiar faces. And it's such a pleasure to announce that 2019-2020 MCIS Facilitator of the Year is Elena Davidova. Let me just tell you, Elena's career in languages began when she started progressively learning English with a tutor back in 1997. Since then, interpretation has been her passion. Her education and experience in business, she has bachelor degrees from Russia and the USA, help her build a solid foundation of being a freelance language professional. In Canada, her career started in 2008 when she received the ILSAT certification in the Russian language. Since then, Elena has been working as a language professional in a variety of settings for interpretation and translation agencies across GTA. Having the privilege to mentor teenage and adult groups since 2010, she began her Canadian career as the language interpreter training facilitator for MCIS in 2009 and Hamburg College 2011. Elena has recently added value to her training career by obtaining teacher trainer of adults with honors diploma. My dear Elena, our dear Elena, no words can describe how happy, proud, and excited we are to have you. Thank you for amazing award, dedication, and professionalism. And I'm gonna say this in Russian. Большое спасибо for everything. You're amazing. And once again, congratulations for the award of the Facilitator of the Year. Thank you.
Congratulations, Elena. Well deserved, I must say. And thank you, Dushan, for such a nice piece there about Elena. Greatly appreciated. So next, we move on to the Translator of the Year. So I'd like to invite our translation manager, Nicole Anikini, to say a few words. The Translation of the Year Award recognizes outstanding contribution in translation and measures responsiveness, reliability, and technical skills. The winner is selected based on the nature, diversity, and complexity of translation work completed in the past year, and consistent reliability to the MCIS assignments. Nominees for the Translator of the Year are Melissa Herbert-Gagnon, Renji Hu, and Hasmukhlal Thakkar. Over to you, Nicole.
Thanks, Pawan. Hello, everybody. It's nice to virtually see you. And I'm excited to announce that this year's Translator of the Year award goes to Melissa Herbert-Gagnon. Melissa has been working with us for several years now, and over the last year, she's really started to shine as one of our go-to translators. she's up for any challenge our project managers throw at her, and there are a lot of them. And she's a dedicated translator for School Mental Health Ontario, who's one of our key clients. And she's played a very important role in helping us provide them with high quality French translation so that in turn they can provide educators and students with high quality mental health resources in French. And of course, very honorable mentions go to Hasmukh and Renji. Hasmukh has been with MCIS for a very long time. Renji has been with MCIS for a while as well, but not quite as long as Hasmukh. Both of them are always a pleasure to work with, and we know we can always count on them for anything. So on behalf of the translation department, I'd like to thank all three of you for all the amazing work that you do. We do really appreciate you, and congratulations.
Thank you, Nicole. Thank you, Nicole. Congratulations so far to the training facilitator and translator of the year. Next up, we have the Interpreter of the Year Award. The Interpreter of the Year Award is presented to a professional interpreter who demonstrates excellence in services delivered, steadfast dedication to MCIS and the language industry, and professionalism in the field. The Interpreter of the Year is a person who MCIS can always depend on for assignments and receives constant positive feedback for our service providers. The nominees are Tayani Gonanathan, Alec Gusanzade, and Bayan Kwanza. I will hand it over to my colleague John to announce the winner.
I don't think John might have been disconnected. I can't find him here. I'm going to try and see. Stella, I don't know if you have any words for the winner this evening, or would you want me to say something? I can't find John.
John just dropped from Zoom.
Yeah, he's been having some technical issues at his end. So he did text me earlier to say that he will be online, but there might be a small possibility of him being not on the call. Stella, are you there? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Do you have anything on you, or you want me to go ahead, or?
Yes, can you actually go ahead, and then I'll just say a few words after you.
Okay, perfect. So I will announce the winner for this evening's Interpreter of the Year award goes to Bayan Kanda. Bayan, you have been excellent. We have a huge roster of interpreters across the country, and one thing that stood out is the amount of feedback we received from our service providers about your services. So I greatly appreciate you being on our roster and taking the jobs. We have had no complaints, no concerns about your timing. You've always been on time, and you've always moved to look after the needs of our client. Congratulations, Bayan. We are so happy to have you on our team. Stella, do you want to add something?
Absolutely. Bayan, on behalf of the team, I just want to congratulate you and say that you are a tremendous asset. I know that over the years you have been invaluable to the MCIS team, and so congratulations and well deserved. And thank you everyone else, and for the honorable mentions as well. Thank you everyone.
Congratulations everyone, and congratulations to you again, Bayan. Next, we move to our partner awards. Our first partner award for the evening is for the Community Partner of the Year. The Community Partner of the Year award is presented to a partner organization that has collaborated with MCIS in its advocacy efforts to advance learning rights, improve access to critical information and services for vulnerable populations that experience language barriers. The award for the Community Partner of the Year goes to John Howard Society of York Region. And to present the award, may I kindly call upon our Social Impact Manager, Eliana. Eliana, are you there?
Yes, I am.
There you go, Eliana. Go ahead, please. Say a few words.
Hello, everybody. It's such a pleasure to be here. So it's my great pleasure tonight to present the MCIS Community Partner of the Year to the John Howard Society of York Region and the team led by Tricia Samaru and Erica Chang. The John Howard Society of Ontario is a nonprofit organization with 19 local offices dedicated to effective, just, and human response to crime and its causes. So for us not to assume that we created an impact, I asked John Howard Society to provide us with a statement of impact, and I will read that to you right now. The John Howard Society of York Region's partnership with MCIS started with one program in 2013 and has evolved to include several funded programs and additional language support provided by MCIS Social Benefit Fund. The strong partnership we have today supports many facets of the organization. Becoming involved with the criminal justice system is often an overwhelming experience. The challenges that arise are even more complex for individuals whose first language is not English or French. Although the clients may have access to interpreters for their court appearances, they're often required to attend programs at the agencies such as ours without having the same level of access. However, our experience and evidence show that program participation by individuals who are not fluent in official languages has additional intimidating and alienating effects, preventing them from acquiring a better understanding of the system. For that reason, we see ongoing access to interpretation and translation along the spectrum of interaction as a critical component in ensuring that clients will meet the expectations and reach the necessary requirements to be able to make informed decisions and have successful outcomes. Through MCIS support, the John Howard Society of York Region has been able to widen the scope of access for our community members and clients. Together, the John Howard Society of York Region and MCIS Language Solution creates social change by making community-based services in York Region more language accessible. Again, congratulations on winning this MCIS Community Partner of the Year. Thank you.
I think Trisha from John Howard Society of York Region is here tonight. So if everybody could show your love through reactions again, that would be really great.
Congratulations, Trisha.
Congratulations to the award winners. And our next award is for Strategic Partner of the Year. Strategic Partner of the Year is presented to a partner organization that has collaborated with MCIS through mutually beneficial initiatives, which advances MCIS's capabilities in further reaching its beneficiaries through expansion and development of its language services. Veronica, are you here?
Yes, I'm here.
We'll have Veronica Costia, our Director of Client Services, present this award.
Thank you, Deanna. So our Strategic Partner of the Year is the Association of Translators and Interpreters of Ontario, and we are thrilled to take this opportunity to recognize the important work that ATIO has been doing since its inception towards supporting and protecting the collective status, dignity, and integrity of professional translators and interpreters, providing a collective voice for its members, as well as relentlessly working towards developing standards of professional competency and ethical conduct to support access to high-quality language services for the public. We are extremely grateful for the opportunity to partner with ATIO, an organization with such a long tradition in our sector, on jointly promoting professional development and certification for translators and interpreters, developing and delivering training programs that raise the quality of language services available to all clients, and particularly vulnerable newcomers in need of critical information and services who face language barriers. We are also excited for our continued collaboration, most notably as partners in advocating for language rights as human rights and for strengthening our sector during Language Advocacy Day that's coming up next year. We are honored to be working with partners such as ATIO that share our commitment to equitable access to high-quality language services, and this award is a token of our gratitude. We hope it is only the beginning of a partnership that will benefit our organizations and, more importantly, the communities that we serve for many years to come. So thank you very much. And I'm not sure if we have anyone from ATIO here. I think I've seen Pensy. In any case, congratulations. Thank you very much.
We also have representation from the ATIO board here tonight. Marie couldn't make it, but we do have representation from the board. So congratulations and thank you, Veronica.
Thank you.
All right, finally, I'm sorry, every now and then we go, are you here? Are you here? There's so many people on our platform this evening, which is so good to have all of you here that we often struggle to find people. So we go, are you here? Are you here? So next we move to our award of the Professional Partner of the Year. And to present the award, I'd like to invite my boss, Lester. Lester, are you here? Don't give me any work. Yeah, okay, there you go. Lester is So Lester is here. The Professional Partner of the Year award is presented to a partner organization that has shared its knowledge, experience, expertise, and/or technology with us, which has in turn enabled MCIS to provide language services with higher quality, efficiency, or cost effectiveness. This year's Professional Partner of the Year award goes to DT Interpreting. Lester, please share a few words with us about DT Interpreting.
Absolutely. Good evening, everyone. I hope you're having a great time so far at this event. It is my honor and pleasure to present the award for Professional Partner of the Year to DT Interpreting. DT Interpreting is one of the oldest and most highly respected organizations in the ASL interpreting community. They were founded back in 1999 and have been an industry leader provider of interpretation services for the past 15 years. As a pioneer in ASL video remote interpreting, they have a clear understanding of the importance of customer service in life-critical fields such as healthcare and law enforcement. Their network is optimized to provide the fastest response possible for video remote interpreting, usually under 30 seconds, and is configured to deliver rapid response 24/7 year-round, which is phenomenal for this industry. So Dan and his team have worked with MCIS since 2017. This is when we launched remote video interpretation with the Ottawa Hospital. Since then, they've been expanding to include all our other VRI clients, including schools, hospital, health clinics, buying groups, and the police. This partner has assisted MCIS to address the shortage of ASL interpreters in North America, and we're extremely fortunate to have them as a strategic partner. As all of you know, it's not easy to come by ASL interpreters. We normally could wait days or even weeks, but the beauty of our partnership with DT enables us to have it anytime we like, 24/7, as I mentioned earlier. So please help me in congratulating DT Interpreting for being our Professional Partner of the Year. And I know, Dan, you're out there. I saw your name earlier. So thank you very much for everything you've done, not only for MCIS, but for our clients and for our communities here throughout Canada. Thank you.
Thank you, Lester. Congratulations to all our partners and all our award winners tonight. Is everybody doing okay? Can you give me a thumbs up if you're doing okay? Perfect, great. Okay, let's move right along to our very special Staff Recognition Awards. In recognition of the work that our staff does, we're also giving awards to long-standing members who have been with MCIS for a number of years. We do have your plaques as well, and they will be shipped to you after the AGM.
To present the first category of awards, 5-year anniversaries, I'd like to invite Lata. Lata, the first award is for Lester. Luckily, he's on screen and you're here too. So can you say a few words, please? I see Lata is there.
Okay. Have you unmuted me?
Yes, yes, Lata.
Okay.
Or how can I mute you?
I know, how dare you. So it gives me great joy to present Lester with the 5-year service award. Lester came to MCIS precisely at a time when we needed his experience and skills. And besides possessing an exceptional work ethic and organizational skills, Lester is kind and compassionate, always going out of his way to help anyone in need. He has taught me the importance of patience and persistence when following up on leads and the art of negotiating mutually beneficial outcomes with customers. He always impresses both internal and external stakeholders alike with how well prepared he always is, evidenced by his great presentations and detailed data-driven reports. We're so happy to have someone of Lester's caliber at MCIS. Look forward to having him in a senior management role at MCIS over the years to come. So thank you, Lester.
We'll now call upon Alex, our Director of Finance, to present the next recognition award.
Thank you, Diana. Rachel joined MCIS in June 2014. And for the past 6 years, she has been providing tactical and strategic HR support in various areas to maximize organizational effectiveness, including recruitment and selection, performance management, health and safety, employee relations, etc. She is also responsible for developing and implementing all human resources initiatives, policies, and programs, and managing overall operations of the Human Resources Department. During her tenure at MCIS, Rachel has been leading projects which have improved efficiency in the HR department, like succession planning, pay equity, compensation benchmarking, etc., and has frequently been recognized for her outstanding achievement. Please join me in congratulating Rachel on her achievement. Thank you, Rachel.
Thank you, Alex. Thank you, and congratulations, Rachel, for being with MCIS. Next, I'd like to invite Williams. Williams, I'm asking you to unmute yourself and
Yes,
present
I'm
the
here.
next. There you go, Williams. Go ahead, please.
Okay, what can we say about Paul? So I can only say nice things when we talk about Paul, and I think I speak in behalf of anybody at MCIS. His commitment, patience, and hard work during these years have been instrumental for the success of MCIS as a service delivery organization. Something important I would like to mention is that back in March 2020, Paul contributed greatly on putting all necessary system components in place to ensure we can all safely and reliably work from home during these difficult times. And he has been supporting all the staff ever since, despite how challenging it is. Paul, thank you so much for 5 years of success at MCIS, and I wish you stay with us for many more years to come, helping us being MCIS. A round of applause for you.
Congratulations, Paul and Lester and Rachel. I'd now like to bring up Dushan again for the next Service Recognition Award.
Okay, hello again. So tonight, right now, I'm going to be speaking about our dear friend, Victoria. Victoria Radvan is our amazing training content developer. Dear Victoria, or how we like to say, dear Vika, as you reach this milestone in your career with MCIS, 5 years with MCIS, I'm so happy and proud to present this award to you. And let's be honest, the success of our training department is the direct result of the brilliant work that you do every single day. You truly inspire me and all of us every single day with your knowledge, but also passion, love, and kindness, which is so important to us. I feel so privileged to have you as my colleague. I could not imagine coming to work and not seeing you there. And I'm so happy we work together. You always make my day, whether in person, in the office, a while ago, or now virtually. Congratulations, my dear friend. I really, really look forward to celebrating our future successes together. And I'm going to say in Russian once again, большое спасибо. We truly love you, and you're so happy to have you. Congratulations, Vika.
Thank you, Dushan. Thank you for polishing us on our Russian too. I'm glad I'm not the one speaking Russian here. That would have been really tricky. Next, we move to our next segment, which is the 10-year anniversary. And to present the 10th year anniversary at MCIS, may I please invite Rachel Wu. Rachel, are you here? There you go. Rachel, say some words about our amazing princess. There you go.
So I'm so honored to be here tonight to present the 10-year service award to Princess. Congratulations, Princess. We cannot thank you enough for your seamless support, all your kindness, and everything you have done to support our employees and our work. I personally cannot tell you enough how much we need you, respect you, and value you as our colleague and friend. So thank you for always being there whenever we need you. So once again, happy work anniversary, and we wish you much more success in the years ahead.
Can we get one more round of applause for all of the award winners and all of the staff members being recognized tonight? Congratulations to all of the staff members who have tirelessly poured energy and heart into MCIS and advocated for limited and non-English speakers.
Awesome. Since we're on the topic of language advocacy, Diana, what do you think? Shall we spill the beans?
I have a better idea, Colin. Let's ask Craig Carter-Edwards to say a few words about language advocacy.
Bingo.
He is the expert after all.
Yeah. So let's see. Hi, Craig.
Hi, Craig.
Hello. Making sure I get my unmute to work here. So thank you, Diana and Pawan. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Amazing. Hello to everyone else as well. I am Craig Carter-Edwards. I am the organizer of Language Advocacy Day, and it's my pleasure to tease you a bit about what this is, and there's going to be a video to follow. So while this community, all of you, do great work in bringing quality translation, interpretation, and terminology support to those in the province that need them, there are still gaps in service access. there's still people who can't access the service they need in a timely manner. And there are still people, both those with the limited English and French proficiency and public service providers to serve them, that don't even know that these language services are available. So we're going to do something about that. On February 4th, 2021, a coalition of organizations working in and around the language services sector will be meeting virtually with MPPs from across the province to discuss some of these challenges, share some sector insights, and to suggest some solutions that we can bring forward to close some of these gaps. Now, this is the perfect time for this kind of advocacy. The COVID pandemic has really highlighted the structural gaps in service provision and systemic barriers that exist here in Ontario and made it clear we need to do a better job in reaching people with the critical information they need in the languages they are comfortable with. So this is really the only way that we can collectively reach that better post-pandemic world that so many people in the private and public sector are talking about. We can bring forward as many services as we want to, but if we can't connect with people on the other side, then we're missing that key vital piece that you all know so well about. So between now and February the 4th, the Language Advocacy Day team will be sharing stories and insights online to help educate the public about the real-world challenges these Ontarians face in accessing the timely quality language services they need to have that equitable quality of life. And then again, on the 4th, we'll be bringing all this information, all these stories virtually to Queen's Park to make sure their MPPs know what's happening, why it's happening, and what we can collectively do to address some of those challenges. And we would love to have your support and input in this. I'm happy to answer any questions that anyone has or take ideas. You can reach me at ccarteredwards@gmail.com. I think it's going to be on the slideshow. And as we're putting out content, please feel free to share those posts using the hashtag LAD21 and to like and subscribe to our various channels, which you'll also see on the video. So that's my bit. Back to Diana and Pawan.
Thanks, Craig.
Next to the video. Yep.
We're going to show the video now for Language Advocacy Day.
The COVID pandemic took the world by surprise, leaving national and local governments scrambling to contain and minimize the impact of their communities. Any effort like this relies on communication. It doesn't matter what policies or programs you have in place if the people don't hear about them. Yet, countless Canadians across the country and right here in Ontario were left out of the loop because this critical information wasn't provided to them through the channels that they use or in languages that they understand. Refugees and newcomers make up only a quarter of Ontario's population, but account for almost half of COVID-19 cases. Key reason for this disparity has been the language barrier. It's hard enough for Ontarians fluent in English and French to understand the complex details of constantly changing COVID safety protocols and programs. It's even harder for people who aren't as proficient in those official languages. This goes both ways. Not only is it harder for Ontarians with limited English and French to learn what plans government has, it's equally hard for government to engage with them, to hear their concerns, and design programs that actually reflect their needs. We get it. Government is busy tackling countless issues like the COVID pandemic, housing shortage, economic growth, but government's ability to communicate with the people and the people's ability to communicate back is at the heart of all of these issues. If we can modernize Ontario's language services, just think of the impact we can have across the board. This is why I support language advocacy. On February 4th of 2021, members of the language service industry from across Ontario will be participating in an innovative virtual language advocacy day where we will share stories from the front lines of interpretation, explore just how important these services are, and discuss the future of language access in Ontario and beyond. We'll also be meeting with MPPs to discuss the critical role language services play in education, health, employment, and justice here in Ontario. We'd love to have your participation. To learn more, email us at languageadvocacyday@gmail.com or visit our website at www.languageadvocacyday.org. You can also find us on social media at Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram.
Je m'appelle Charlotte et je soutiens la défense des langues.
Canadian Language Advocacy Day 2021.
My name is Trisha and I support language advocacy.
我支持让政府知道语言服务对人民的重要性。
My bhasha ki vakalat ka samarthan karta hoon.
Canadian Language Advocacy Day 2021.
എൻ്റെ പേര് സോണിയ. എല്ലാവർക്കും അവരുടെ ഭാഷ വളരെ പ്രധാനപ്പെട്ടതാണ്.
My name is Sridhar and I support language advocacy.
مرحبا أنا سالي وأنا بدعم يوم مناصرة اللغة.
என் பெயர் லதா சுகுமார். நான் மொழி உரிமையை பூர்ணமாக ஆதரிக்கிறேன்.
We support language advocacy.
My name is Deanna and I support language advocacy.
My name is Nikki and I support language advocacy.
I support Language Advocacy Day.
My name is Nicole and I support language advocacy.
My name is Benin and I support language advocacy.
My name is Lola Bindana. I support language advocacy.
My name is Jen and I support language advocacy.
My name is Eliana and I support Language Advocacy Day.
Canadian Language Advocacy Day. So I'm going to say that again.
Thank you so much, Craig. That was so inspiring. Remember, everyone, hashtag LAD21. Stay trendy, use hashtags. Highly recommended. This is the essence of what we do. So we would highly appreciate if you can all participate. February the 4th, 2021.
Absolutely. Everyone should get involved. How is everybody doing? Yeah, good? All right. I know some of you have been waiting all night for this part of the program, the raffle. That's right, it's time for the raffle.
Since we are all virtual this year, we had to figure out how we do the raffle. We really couldn't physically pull all the names out of a box. So instead, we are pulling all your names into a random generator and we'll draw 4 names for prizes. So, Diana.
The prizes this year are super cool, and we'll be ordering them from Amazon and delivering them right to your door. You don't even have to leave your house to get a prize this year. The different prizes we have are, we have a blanket, an Amazon Echo Dot, a really cool cheese platter, and the grand prize is a vintage Bluetooth record player. So Jack will take over from here and bring in the prize draw.
Okay, I will assist with the prize draw. Oh, second. Give me one quick second. Let me just pull up the page that have everyone's names. Okay. So what we did this year is that we basically took everyone that RSVP. And then we put all their names into one of the online random name pickers. And from that, we would just ask the website to draw the names for us. And this way, it's the most, I would say it's the most fair way for us to pull the winners out of this. And of course, there were some duplicates in the names, which we took care of. So I'm just going to pull that up right now. Okay, pulling up attendance list. Okay, here's a list of names. Okay, so I hope everyone can see that on top of there we go. Get rid of the last one.
So just to ask you, so Jack, this is for all the attendees right now in the room, and then you're just generating it randomly, right?
Yes. So this website is called a random name picker. So we take a list of names, and then I just click on this pick a random name, and it will show us the winners. So what we did in previous years was that we required the person to be in the room to be the winner. We are going to bypass that this year. Well, because these are all the people that had basically RSVP to the AGM. Because everyone's muted, it's very difficult for us to confirm whether they're here. Would you guys agree with that, or how about Diana?
I was thinking like they could message me, and I would know if the person is in the room. If they message me, that way I know that the person is.
Sure.
So
absolutely, and our one of the planning committee members and our communication specialist Ashley will follow up tomorrow to obtain full address information.
Yes. Okay.
Thank you.
All right. So using the chat function, you can send a chat to Pawan if your name is chosen to confirm that you are indeed here with us. So after a virtual drum rolls, this first prize draw is for the shedding free fleece blanket, picking a random name. And look at that. And the winner is Veronica. Congratulations. No, you don't want it? Veronica said she's going to pass. Are you going to pass?
As I don't think as staff we can get prizes. I think it's really for other people. So
actually, Lata specifically asked staff to RSVP so that everyone can, so the staff can participate, but we cannot. The ones on the AGM community, we're not eligible, but the staff.
We are not on the raffle at all.
So, do you want to pass this to someone else, Veronica?
Yes, I would like to do that.
Right.
Yeah.
Let's try again. Okay. And Monica, there we go. Yay.
Monica was there.
Yes, and we know Monica was here for sure. So congratulations, Monica, for the fleece blanket. And the next prize is for the Amazon Echo Dot with Alexa function. And the winner is Shimona.
Shimona was here too, I think.
Yeah, okay. All right, and the third prize is for the deluxe cheese board that comes with the full tools. Winner, Rashmi. Congratulations.
Rashmi is here too.
Yeah, and lastly, for the grand prize, this is the Bluetooth record player, vintage.
This is the big one.
Yeah. And let's see. And the winner is Cyril Harden. Cyril Harden, if you're, can we confirm if she's here? I can just look through.
I'm going to double check. Cyril, if you're here, please send me a message.
Okay.
I don't see her.
Yeah, I don't see her name in the list either. But she may have logged in as a different name. But if you don't get a message from her, we'll pick a different name.
I saw her log in earlier, so.
You did? All right. So
can we confirm her then for the winner?
You want to do one more? Okay.
Well, I don't know, Deanna. You said you saw her earlier, or she's not here.
I did see her come on to the meeting earlier.
Okay.
Okay.
So that's fine. I think we can reach out to her. We have the contact information, right?
Correct.
Is that okay?
Yeah. Let's go ahead.
Okay. So that's that.
Thank you very much. Greatly appreciate that, Jack. That was a very amazing technology of going online, putting the names. And next, before we move on, I'd like to invite Lester briefly. Lester, if you wanted to come in and say a few words. So Lester, please feel free to unmute yourself.
Yeah, well, I know we're going to have a final good night to everybody. We've had a long evening, exciting evening. We've had some great speakers, some great partners, clients attend, really exciting. But I want to call out specifically you, Pawan, Deanna, Jack, and Sarah for making tonight possible. I know the hard work you put in to make it look as flawless as it is, make it look very professional, very top ranking in terms of AGMs or awards nights. Fantastic job. Once again, thank you very much for making this night happen.
Thank you so much, Lester. Appreciate your kind words. Greatly appreciate. At this point, what I'm also going to do is perhaps I'm going to try and see. So we've come to the end. We reached the conclusion of our AGM. MCIS would like to congratulate all the award winners as well as all of you here tonight. Thank you for spending your evening with us. It's been an exciting night. We look forward to making a bigger impact next year, and we hope we will do this in person. We greatly appreciate your patience. This has obviously been a little different to what we are used to. We are meeting virtually. So I greatly appreciate your presence, and thank you again, everyone, for being here. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone, for coming. And thank you for co-hosting, Pawan.
Pleasure, pleasure. Thank you, Diana.
Bye.
You. Bye, everyone. Thank you, everybody, for the kind comments. Thank you.
Thanks, Jack, for manning the videos, PowerPoint.
You can unmute yourself if you want.
Thank you, Baba.
Bye. Thank you, Sammy.
Great job, you guys.
Thank you.
Good job, guys. You did a fantastic job.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lucy.
Good
Thank
job,
you,
guys.
Becky. Nice having you here.
Good night, everyone.
Bye, guys. Good night.
Night.
Bye, Shash. Have a good night. Thank you again. Thank you, Hillary.
Good night, everyone.
Bye,
Amazing
Monica. Thanks,
Bye.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye, Monica.
Thank you for MCIS board.
Thank you, Jana.
Thank you for coming, Sammy.
You're welcome. Take
Have
care.
a good night, Hillary. Good to see you, Sammy.
Yeah, thank you.
Hey, Tali. Good to see you too.
I was muted.
Oh yeah, I saw. It's pretty.
Why am I on the spotlight?
I'm gonna read. Don't worry. I'm just
Hi, Rashmi.
see everyone.
Okay.
Oh, there we go. Yeah.
Hi, Rashmi.
Bye,
Hi, William.
Bye, Williams.
I got lucky this night. This is the first lucky draw for me in my entire.
I told you, you work with vendor management, you get lucky in life.
Rashmi, it's just a new beginning.
Hopefully, Hannah.
Lillian,
Congrats.
thank you for
This
joining
is
us.
the first time. I'm so surprised. Oh my god.
Thank you, everyone. Amazing job. Thank you.
Mona.
Bye.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye, Rashmi. Have a good night.
See you tomorrow.
Bye,
Bye-bye.
Chioma. Good to have you here.
Hi, Louisa.
Hey,
Thanks for
Anila.
joining.
Good to hear from you, Anila. Good to see you.
Good night,
Bye.
Mohammed.
Have a good night.
Diana, brilliant work. I'm impressed.
Good night, Dushan. Thank you.
Thank you,
You're so good.
Dushan.
I'm
Good
glad it's
night.
over.
Bye. Thank you so much. Have a great evening too. Nice to hear from you.
Jack, Powell, and Williams, stick around for a few minutes.
Yes.
Okay, I'll be right back. One sec. I'm gonna.
It's nice to see you,
Should I stop
Gia.
recording?
Yeah.
I
I think you
stop
can.
recording?
Yes, since you are recording, you're going to be saving the recording.